all type of knowledge ultimately means self-knowledge.
I'm a big believer in learning through your own experiences as opposed to repeating what you heard from some random guy on YouTube. And I say that as some random guy on YouTube. In the case of the topic of this particular video, I mean that I have a high degree of respect for people in the Aikido community who are not afraid to go out to test their Aikido and to go to different teachers to find the it that is missing from Aikido. So let's backtrack a bit because you might not have any idea what I'm actually talking about. So a few months back, I pretty much kicked off this channel with my video, The Problem with Aikido. And in that video, I told a story about how I went to check out an Aikido dojo in Nashville, Tennessee, and that was about 5 years ago. I really liked the instructor who was leading the class, and for the most part, the students there were pretty cool. Well, except for this one student who kind of stood out as the queen bee. I got some red flags around her that I talked about in my second Aikido video. Well, after the class, I had a long chat with the other main instructor who showed up much later. He asked me about my martial arts background, and when I told him that I studied several Chinese internal styles, well, he had a lot of questions about my teachers, their skills, and how open they were about sharing their training. And that's when he told me that there were high-level Aikido guys who possessed a level of skill similar to what my Kung Fu teachers had. But within the Aikido community, the internal training that these guys were doing, well, it was like some kind of big secret that was being closely guarded. So I identified this as the problem with Aikido because I'm an internal martial arts person. To me, Aikido is supposed to be like, I don't know, like internal judo or something. And I know that probably sounds crazy to some of y'all, but I'm not the only person who thinks that because I heard Dan the Wolfman say something similar in a video with Rokas from Martial Arts Journey.
Aikido at the high level, from few people that have it, the real stuff, is higher level judo, is higher level jujitsu. It is jujitsu, as a matter of fact.
Now maybe you're asking, Prince, why are you talking about Aikido all of a sudden? Don't you do videos on Bruce Lee? Why are you bringing this Aikido stuff back up? Well, it turns out a few days ago, I saw that the Aikido sensei that I spoke with at that school, he had Roy Goldberg out to his school in Nashville to host a big workshop last weekend.
Now you're probably thinking, well, who the hell is Roy Goldberg? That is Roy Goldberg.
So Roy Goldberg is a highly respected name in the Aikido community, but there are also videos floating around out there that are making Roy Goldberg look like a snake oil salesman. You know, that bullshito stuff. I mean, it comes with the territory, and if he weren't well known, well, nobody would be laughing at his videos. But what is interesting about Roy Goldberg is that he is what I would call an inner door student of Kiyama Shihan of the North American Daito-ryu Kodokai. Daito-ryu Aikido Jiu-Jitsu is the mother art of Aikido, and this is what Ueshiba was studying under Takeda before he started Aikido.
In pre-World War II, after World War II, but even in the 50s, Aikido was much harder, and it still was really the Daito-ryu Aikido Jiu-Jitsu syllabus style. I mean, you can actually look at the scrolls. It's the same exact stuff Ueshiba was teaching.
Now, in the first video when I addressed the problem with Aikido, the comment that I saw appearing the most was that I needed to go train Daito-ryu, and Roy Goldberg's name appeared a whole lot. Well, the thing is, my teacher Sam F.S. Chin knows Roy Goldberg. They put on a number of workshops together, and I don't know Roy. I have no idea what his level of skill is because I've never touched hands with him. I can say this much though. I feel that if Roy does have some skill, he has some really bad students who should probably go find work in the WWE. Like there's a video from one of Roy and my Sifu seminars floating around YouTube where one of Roy's Aikido students touched my teacher, and then he starts going into all kinds of theatrics. Now, the last time that I trained with my Sifu was in New York right before I moved to Thailand 2 years ago. And Sifu pulled me up for at least 2 demonstrations that weekend. The first time, he really let me have it, and he pushed me back a few feet away from him. But the second time I was anticipating what he was going to do, and it turned out that he just gave me a little bit just to let me know that he'd already taken my balance. Well, I stumbled back a little bit because I was expecting him to really toss me this time, but he didn't. And Sifu gave me this disappointed look like, bro, what are you doing? That's not what I was going for. This wasn't a lesson for everybody else to see. This was for you to observe. And what Sifu says is that you can't know what is happening right now by anticipating or expecting an action based on your preconceptions. Your memories can't tell you what is happening right now. That's looking to the past to understand the present. You can only know by being present and feeling. When you make contact with your training partner, you must actually feel what is happening by being completely present.
Don't think. Feel.
Now I was surprised to learn that Roy Goldberg actually teaches something very similar to what my Sifu says. Roy says you have to be there. You have to live there.
So what exactly is Aiki?
And as a matter of fact, on the concept of Aiki, Roy talks about the concept of Aiki as sort of a condition that's caused by being present.
Use the force, Luke.
It's not about some mystical energy field that allows you to manipulate other people. It's just the result of training the body and the mind to unite, to produce a force in a way that takes the balance away from your attacker. And this might sound like a lot of woo-woo stuff to people who are unfamiliar with any internal martial art, but Roy's saying the very same thing that the Tai Chi people say who at least know how to talk the talk. Whether they can walk the walk, I don't know. But hey y'all, it's like I said, I really don't know what's up with some of Roy's students that he touches in these videos that are on YouTube, and I'm kind of at the point where the only way to truly know what someone has is to touch them and find out for yourself. But I will say this much, the more that I started to read up on the things that Roy has said,
it sounds like something that I would say.
A lot of it lines up with the things that I said in that first video about the problem with Aikido. Now, on leaving the Daitu Ryo organization to start his own school, Roy said that Daitu Ryo wasn't being heavily promoted outside of Japan. It's never going to be as popular as Aikido. It's not so much a secret, but it's this thing that only people in Japan really seem to know about. And I mean, like, isn't that what I said in the first video? The sensei from the Aikido school told me that there's these high-level guys in Japan and they throw out the techniques that get taught in the Aikido school. They just move, they take your center and you end up on the ground. But whatever they were doing, it wasn't being taught everywhere else. And here's Roy Goldberg saying, well, the internal development in Daitu Ryo, it didn't really make it into Aikido, and it's not really being taught much outside of Japan. Doesn't that sound like a problem to you guys? So it's like I've been saying all along. The problem with Aikido is that it's supposed to be an internal martial art. There's no internal development in it. And Roy Goldberg said that you need solo practice in addition to Waza to train Aiki. Now in Chinese martial arts, we refer to this as Jibin Gong. Jibin Gong is a term that basically means solo exercises that you do to develop the qualities necessary to make that style work. In my style, Ili Chin, we have the 15 basic exercises. We have a stretching routine, and some of that comes from the Shaolin I Jin Jing, or the tendon changing classics that were taught by Damo that pretty much started Shaolin Kung Fu. We also have the two forms, spinning hands and sticky hands, and those are partner exercises that get increasingly more difficult until you end up with flat out sparring. And you need all of these to completely learn the art, along with the seated meditation, and you know that's to get the whole mindfulness, being in the present moment part that Sifu talks about. The thing is, Aikido doesn't have this. Waza will not get you there. Learning how to do little flippy things by grabbing somebody by their wrist and taking falls is not going to get you there. You need the Jibin Gong, and then you need to actually train with a partner who's given enough resistance for you to know how to properly feed them, and vice versa. Looking at Roy's past interviews, it sounds like he's actually saying the right things. And as far as doing them, look, I don't know. I've never met Roy, and just from what I've seen online from Roy, I can only say that Roy might have the goods, but I don't think some of the Aikido guys training with him in those videos are ever going to get it. They need to stop thinking that Roy is some kind of Jedi master and actually pay attention to what he's doing. As for my friend back home in Nashville, I'm actually proud of him for getting Roy out to train with his group. He came in having a real conversation with a dude that he didn't even know, and he more or less said, look, man, we'd love to have you train with us, but I mean, I don't know how much you're going to get out of training here. And like I said, I wasn't trying to walk in there with the attitude of, well, I'm going to test my skill against these Aikido dorks. I went with an empty cup looking to see what they had. And I mean, some of my Kung Fu friends, they told me not to even go. But I mean, I had the experience. I got a cool story out of it. And now I got 3 videos out of it too. But something that I have to wonder about now is if maybe me visiting that school made the teacher look for someone who might have the internal skills that had eluded him up to that point on his Aikido journey. But I mean, that's a question that I'm going to have to sit with. But like I said at the beginning, look, I respect people who go out and learn based on their own experiences. I mean, this guy, he could have looked at a McDojo Live video that was making fun of Roy and his students and said, well, I'll just keep wondering about if anyone actually has real skill when it comes to this stuff that I've been doing for like half my life. Or he could say that there's only one way to find out and invite this guy to come and train with him in his school. Now look, at the end of the day, that's what it's really all about. It's about putting yourself in these situations where you can know this works or this doesn't work. And I have a few stories about myself doing that I'd like to share with you guys another time. But hey, if you want to see how all of this started when I decided to check out an Aikido dojo back when I was still in Nashville, be sure to check out that video and then get the second part of that story in my follow-up video, The Problem with Aikido Students. Also, one more thing. Y'all keep training, remember to breathe, and I'll see you on the next video.